The IDF began its ground invasion of southern Lebanon overnight as part of their ongoing war with Hezbollah. Today, we'll go through a significant amount of recently released IDF footage that shows their forces operating in southern Lebanon inside some of these tunnels. In the coming days, we'll go through more of an analysis and assessment of what this means and what to expect moving forward. But given the volume of recently released footage that we've never seen before, I felt like was worthy of its own video to just sort of run through and present. Right out the gate, we're going to see some significant Hezbollah tunnels throughout this clip. If you thought that what we saw in Gaza was a lot, well, you should wait to see some of these things that Hezbollah has built into the southern Lebanon mountains. And as for the weaponry, well, this is just the first piece that shows a lot of these various mines, rifles, and anti-tank guided missiles of the group. That will appear here soon as well. You can see the IDF operating not only above ground, but also below ground. The IDF created a few animations, which in this case, I believe are helpful because they sort of show the location of these target facilities and the general direction of the tunnels beneath them. They then go back out to show what this actually looks like as it's being destroyed, indicating that a lot of this infrastructure was not just infiltrated where the IDF cleared the facilities, used the weapons and intelligence that we'll see in a moment to pinpoint some of these locations, but they also repeatedly withdrew and set the tunnel on fire. This one clearly appears to be a little less well-built than some of the others, but again, notice the depth of the tunnel network and what Israel anticipates coming up against. That is, sleeping quarters for some of the soldiers from earlier in the war. Hezbollah released statements claiming that some of these tunnels could conceivably sustain a unit there for 6 to 12 months at a time, as if they had sufficient supplies and equipment there to sustain a sizable force for a considerable amount of time. I believe we have 3 videos in total that depict this breakdown, with these operators moving into these tunnels beneath houses or what appears to be civilian infrastructure in Lebanon. The IDF did not state that these videos were shot in the last 24 or 48 hours. Rather, they stated in their announcement that the IDF has conducted dozens of targeted operations in southern Lebanon near the border to destroy Hezbollah's infrastructure and terrorist capabilities that threaten Israeli civilian communities in northern Israel. We haven't heard much about that, but a few days ago, the Wall Street Journal published an announcement claiming that Israeli Special Operations Forces had carried out numerous raids into southern Lebanon into Hezbollah tunnels. At the time, we hadn't seen any evidence of this. Hezbollah wasn't discussing it at all. There were sporadic rumors that there was some fighting at the border, but nothing like this. So, once again, everything we're seeing here hasn't been made public for the past 24 to 48 hours, but is starting to become a little more robust. Take a look at that as it tunnels through the rocks. Oh, this was a longer clip that I cut down. I'll link the IDF channel where I found all of this footage, which you are welcome to watch in full. But this particular clip ended up lasting about 5 minutes straight with nothing but explosions. I thought we could probably cut that down so you could get the idea. The IDF entered the area, cleared the facilities, and then returned. They then began detonating everything, including what appear to be internal charges, not necessarily airstrikes. Observe the amount of weapons they are bringing in. It is much different from what we observed leaving Gaza. Many times when the IDF was entering the tunnels in the Gaza Strip, you could see that Hamas had sort of fled the area, so there were remnants. A lot of modern weapons, but not nearly as much handmade stuff as we'd find in Gaza, not the case with what we're seeing here in southern Lebanon, where some of these are substantial armament depots. I mean, look at some of the older guns and other items that were left behind, but it was evident that they had transferred a lot of their larger stockpiles away from that area. It appears that Israel moved to some of these locations along the border between northern Israel and the southern part of Lebanon. These areas were prepared to fend off an Israeli ground offensive or ground invasion of sorts, fighting back tanks and infantry and such. I suppose that's why the IDF sent in a number of special operators to clear out these tunnels once more. I'll go ahead and link all of these. I felt like it was just worth sharing some of the raw footage that is currently being released by the IDF because, as mentioned previously, we have never seen Israel operating in southern Lebanon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next. You can telegram the source of all these videos in the description below. I'll be back in a few days with more of an assessment of what we've seen so far and how this fight is playing out.